Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast where we try to figure it all out with your hosts, Brandon and Collin. On this week's show, air vent neuroses. Ahoy!
Ahoy!
How's it going?
That's going pretty good, right?
Yeah, really? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I mean, it's fine, yeah. That's fine.
Good. It should be fine. Okay, good.
Yeah. This whole having to go to work 5 days in a row. Blah, what happened? What is this? Get out.
I know the weather tried to help you. It tried to get cold, but I guess it
It didn't try. It's very cold today. It was approximately, listeners, again, exciting Midwest. This was very helpful teaching weather science this week.
Oh.
We just looked at the actual weather map and was like, look, here's all the things that we've been talking about. Amazing. Like yesterday, 80 degrees. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This morning, 23.
It's so, oh my gosh.
What? What?
Yep.
I don't know if it was actually 80. It might have been just like 79.
It was,
But
look, it was close enough.
It was really high yesterday.
Yeah.
This morning was, but I had already put away my coat too. That's the annoying part. I dig my jacket. I my winter coat out of the closet. It's like, I put this away last week because it's hot forever. And I was like,
no. This is the false spring. That's where we are in our weather journey.
Yeah.
Missouri's false spring.
Yeah. Just like, ho, ho, boom. Just kidding. Freezing cold. So that was a fun time. Right. So, yeah, other than trying to remember where I put my coat, it's been fine.
Oh, yeah. And we had, it was cold all day today. And I could definitely tell that several of the staff members had also put away their coats because some didn't bother to get them back out. And we're like, yeah, I cut the walk kind of short today because it was cold. I was like, oh, you didn't layer. Oh, okay, it's fine. It's fine.
You know,
fine. It happens. It happens.
Yeah, at least wear like your hoodie and also something else.
And something else. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because the wind has been terrible too. My allergies have been insane. Was driving, which we can get to here in a little bit, but just
right.
Side note on that, like the number of cedars that line the interstate is quite a lot. And then
it's like infinite. Like
when the wind
is
like blowing.
Cruising USA, right? When you drive and it's just like the trees just like whip by. Does anybody else remember Cruising USA? They call it something different outside of the USA. But that old like Sega arcade video game, right? Where you like drive the road trip game.
Yes. Yep. And when the cedars are so laden with pollen, it looks like they are on fire because of the amount of pollen that's leaving them. Yeah, it makes you really turn it to recirculation. Is when you hit that button. Yes. So, yeah. So I'm back to sneezing again, which is fun.
Oh no! Just when we thought we were past all this, right? Like, dang it.
But I'm glad you got to have some teaching moment from the Missouri weather. So I guess, you're welcome.
It was good. Yeah. Pulled up the NOAA website and we're like, hey, look, here's why tomorrow it's going to be freezing. Look, here we go. Ta-da.
Look at the line. Look
at the lines. The isobars, the low pressure.
Oh, isobars.
Oh, yeah. So we did that. That's pretty much it.
Oh.
Nothing else like super exciting this week is happening. Trying to just survive the weather change.
Oh,
And go there. Oh, but we do have it's quinceanera time. Oh,
oh,
man, Saturday. We're going to one on Saturday. So that's exciting.
huzzah.
So that'll be fun. But that's about it. That's about all I got. Trying to
Oh.
survive. We are doing like classroom demo presentations tomorrow.
Oh,
That'll be good.
what are they
Hopefully.
on?
Air pressure.
Oh,
So we'll see. There is a suspicious lack of materials that have been brought to my class over the past week. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. At least a couple people will present, I suppose.
Yes,
But-
and there may be more time vacant than you were expecting. sounds like.
Yeah. It'll be sit and think about your horrible life decisions, about how all those times when I said we need to make sure we are going over our stuff and planning and meeting and talking about things. The groups that never came to see me and just sat over in the corner full of shenanigans. They don't have their stuff. It's pretty weird.
Crazy.
It's pretty weird how that happens, right?
Yeah.
Who knew? Who knew? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Well, let's hear about this driving.
Oh, okay.
Cruising USA.
I was
For real.
So here, I mean, so anyway, yeah, so where to start? Like on Friday, the reason, so I was driving and the Megan was flying because, we had like a year ago, she had committed to be on this committee to be part of the board that does a big fundraising event for women's heart health here in town. Basically, it's this huge fundraiser that raises money for AEDs, and their goal is an AED in every business here in town.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's their goal. So really ambitious. AEDs are like $3,000 a piece. Then, and I didn't know this, but then like you then have to replace like it as a unit is only, I'm going to get all this wrong. So right into, I don't care, USA. Of like the unit itself has to be replaced, I think like every 10 years, but the battery has to replace every 5 years and the pads have to be replaced every 2 to 3 years. Even if you don't use them, right? These things just go bad.
How do pads go bad?
I think it's the sticky adhesive stuff that just dries out and dies after a while, and it's not as effective. So I think it's one of those things of like, well, technically you could use like 7-year-old pads, but manufacturer and all that stuff thinks that you should have this. Pads are like $500 just for the pads per device.
Oh, again, hold on, listeners. We live in the United States, so they don't actually cost $500, right? They're just selling them to you for $500, right? I need all of our friends in Scandinavia. Tell us how much they actually are. I want to know. You can message us that, right? Hit us up on. Do we still have Instagram? Do we still have that?
Yeah, we have Instagram.
Hit us up. Let us know.
Brother Podcast, and then obrotherpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, I want to know how much they actually cost because I can guarantee you they don't actually cost $500.
No,
that's just what they're going to sell them to you for.
Sure. So anyway, Megan was part of this committee. It's this huge luncheon, and she was like actively involved. And then the opportunity to go to this conference came up, and we said yes to that. And then we actually looked at the dates, and like Friday was the luncheon that she had to be like there for a part of, but it got out too late for us. Like if we had both flown, for us to both make it there for the opening of the conference. And so, plus I have a lot of things that we were taking with us. Did I send you the picture of the big pop-up,
the booth?
Of the booth setup and everything. Yeah.
You can't take the banner on the plane, right? That won't fit in the overhead storage bin.
No. And even collapsed and completely flat, like the thing is huge and it weighs a ton. Plus I've got recording gear. Plus I've got other boxes of stuff and things. I'm like, I just feel better driving for this. Like I'll drive.
Oh no, that's fair.
We need a car down there anyway, because where we were staying versus where the conference was actually held are 15 minutes apart.
Oh yeah. So.
Right. So it's like, we need a car. So driving down, that's why I drove. And what I forgot to do, I only bust out, I use some apps on my phone for, I got to go through this story a lot faster than I'm going through right now. I use some apps on my phone for long
We got
distance.
time. It's fine. Whatever.
We've got some, I've got to get to a review. We've got snacks.
Oh,
we've got
that's
to do
true.
our top five.
Oh, okay.
We've got
right.
Haiku. Anyway, but
Okay.
like, I only use a few apps specifically for long distance driving because they're much better at recalculating and stuff. So I use Waze. Is it Waze? Wave? Whatever. I don't know.
No idea.
Where it's like a crowdsourced traffic thing where like active users can drop like down car or like thing in the road.
Yeah.
I really like this app for that, but I only use it when I'm driving long distance. And so I start off Friday morning, I'm driving and I'm like, that's not the time that I thought it was whenever I was, on my computer telling me, but maybe it's rerouting me. And then to drink water. I leave at 5 a.m. and I'm driving. I get to Joplin and it starts telling me that I need to start going north. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. So I'm like, you know what? I've got plenty of time. The time that it tells me I'm going to be there, I've still got loads of time. So fine, whatever. So I get, but I do get back on the interstate and I drive. And then it has me get off before I get into Oklahoma. And I'm like, what on earth is this? Why am I going north? And then I realize that I'm going through Baxter Springs.
Where the heck is it taking you?
I hit Chipotle or whatever, Cheetah, whatever.
Who knows? Really?
Okay, no who knows? Who's the land of make believe? And then I hit due south, and then I realized it's going to take me just into Veneta. And I then, while driving and not safely, check the settings on my phone. And yes, listeners, you may have caught on by now. I had a setting on my phone turned to avoid toll roads.
Oh!
And so
it all makes sense now.
My little phone was doing everything it possibly could to avoid the massive I-4 toll road that goes through Oklahoma.
Okay. Yeah. This does make sense.
Makes
like, what, did you put in the wrong Texas? Is it being like, I'm gonna take you?
Yeah. And then magically, I got a lot of time back because also in North Dallas, there are also a lot of toll roads that it was true. Also avoiding. So I got back like 45 minutes. I was just like,
wow.
I was like, right. Wow. Okay.
That's wild.
Yes. So the rest of my 6.5-hour drive, completely uneventful drive through Oklahoma into North Texas. We settled in Louisville, right off of Louisville Lake, by the thing there. So completely uneventful, wonderful drive. I was driving the Nissan Sentra SV, and I never remember with Nissan, like there's an SV, and then there's like an L something. I think I can't remember.
They just like pick letters. I think they just like throw letters at a dartboard, right?
Yes.
And they're just like, okay, S, and then the next higher one will be, all right, V, got it. And then like they just what? And then
yeah, real bad. And it's one of those things of the rental company. Like I think about this stuff. Like, why did the rental company want this version of the car? And the reason is because in the SV, this is what gets you all of the driver aids of like the lane check, like so that the blind spot checker, like when you're going over lane, the little light will pop up. It has the adaptive cruise control, which so it's got all the tech features, but you still have the cloth seats. You don't have power anything inside. It's all still manual, but it's got all the tech in it. Like it's a really weird that's so odd. So at the next levels where you get all the other niceties.
It's SR, by the way.
Oh, really?
That's why according to this map, this diagram that I'm looking at of Nissan SSV SR.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's what it says.
So that's a more sporty trim in there,
I would guess.
Yes. So I it was it's a rental, whatever. Things I didn't like about this car. I mean I can't complain too much because this isn't bespoke to this car, but like the adaptive cruise control. I hate this. I hate this feature with a burning fiery passion. It hurts so bad because you're in normal cruise control. Sorry, in dumb cruise control. That's what I'll say. You're driving along and it's just like, okay, up 67. I will always drive 67. And you can come up, you can pass people because you approach people, you're getting closer. I can see the car. I look at my blind spot. I check my mirror. I merge over. My momentum continues carrying forward. With this, you can never catch this close enough. It will always slow down when it senses that car in front of you. So what happens is you merge to the left lane while you're braking.
Always a safe plan, right?
Yes. Yes. And then your car has to sense that there's no other car in front of you, and then it accelerates. So you've already lost the gaining that you were making on the car in the right lane. And you're also holding up everybody in the left lane who's trying to actively pass you. So you find yourself driving and then like turning it off to then pass, to then get over and then turning it back on. Like it's a way more like managed system. And I can't stand it. And then the other thing
does kind of defeat the purpose of cruise control.
Yes. Mine will just have your... Yes. Yes, indeed. Indeed. So the other thing about this too is if you're driving along and let's say you set it for, I don't know, you're in North Texas, so you're going 83 miles an hour because the speed limit is 80. And you're driving along and then you're listening to a podcast and you're paying attention to the road, you're listening, you're paying attention to the road, and then you are behind somebody and you're just paying attention to the road. And then you look down and you realize you've been following somebody going 63 miles an hour the whole time.
Oh no.
Because your car just slowed down to accommodate that. Just you know what? Hey, you put me here. I'm not going to run into them. We're just going to stay the same distance from them at all. And you're like, oh my gosh. You're like, that's the other thing of like, if you don't pay attention, you'll just be going 50 miles an hour the whole way.
That's true. There's no like thing to notice like, oh, hey, it's slowing down because you would expect because you set the thing at X speed, you expect it to go X speed, right?
Yes.
Like,
yes. So, there's that. So I don't like that feature. Also, when you're sitting driving, they're doing the thing where the bottom of the steering wheel is flat because they're trying to be sporty. And I'm like, who are we kidding here, people?
It's not an F1 car here. Like
not an F1 car. It has 4 cylinders and like 150 horsepower. Like there are a lot.
That's World Rally Championship ready horsepower.
Right. That's fair point. Fair point.
Not power to weight, but still power wise, 150 is like the zone, right?
Adequate.
That's like that's what the Subaru Impreza used to run at, right? Somewhere around in there.
Right. Yes, that's what the Impreza and the Nissan Sentra.
Yeah, the Impreza Rally Edition, right? The one that weighs like 4 ounces. That one.
Yes, not the one sitting here with 16-inch wheels.
Okay, yeah, true. Okay.
So you've got that. So the driving is not very. But I don't understand this again and again. I think I've talked about this before in this podcast because last time I rented a vehicle like this on the shifter, you can go. I hate this. When you put park is all the way forward. If you click the button and pull back, you will go all the way back, which is you will go past reverse, you'll go past neutral, you'll go past drive, and you will go to L for low, which is which you don't
you don't ever need that. And
don't ever need, especially whenever, because I'm thinking like,
especially in a 4-cylinder car.
It's going to catch me in drive, and then if I need to go to low, I'll need to make an extra click. Like this, like you can slide through reverse and neutral and drive, but it will keep going to low even if you let go of the button.
That's weird. Like,
yeah.
Why would you want to go to low?
I don't know. And if you're like me, who's expecting to stop and drive, you pull out of the parking lot,
yeah,
and then go to the on ramp, and you're like, wow, 7,000 RPM sounds really weird right now.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I'm in low.
Yeah, so it was not letting me out of first. Okay, got it.
Exactly. So you slam it into drive, and then what you notice is, on the shifter, it's so hard to describe this. On the shifter, on the back of it, so like when you put your hand on it to shift, if you were to slide your hand down, like now your hand is around the actual shift shaft, you could push a little tiny button on the back. That's not labeled.
Yes.
That's not labeled.
Oh,
at all.
That's fun.
But it puts you into sport mode.
A
completely useless button.
I mean,
entirely.
Yeah. On this particular Nissan, probably extremely useless, right? Like,
but if you're wanting to go out and thrash 149 horsepower in a Nissan Sentra, I have a button for you.
Oh man,
there is a button that will make your day. It just makes a lot of noise. It drives even more herky jerky with the acceleration. With a small 4-cylinder car, you're already like, like it's already pretty on edge. It completely when you turn this on, I will say, it does turn off eco mode. So there's a button over on the left that you can press to turn into eco mode. And what this does, this actually, I thought this would just like, it changes more than just like when it shifts is what I kind of thought it would do. It changes things about how the air conditioning works, right? Like it changes functionality about the car beyond just the engine, because air conditioning is a big drain on car engines and can make it very inefficient. So it actually makes the air conditioning worse in the car. So if you want to drive a slow, hot car, you can push the eco button.
Perfect.
Which really
that sounds effective, right? Like, man.
Now, I will say, over the course of almost 1,000 miles, I did manage 33.9 miles to the gallon. So, like, there you go. And that was including, that was just, I set it and then I didn't reset it till it got dropped off. Of like, that includes all the times I was driving in low for way too long.
Could have been 34, really. I mean,
could have been, or when I was hitting the sport button repetitively, going, "What is this actually doing? Oh, it's actually it's making this worse. Like it's making this. This is not fun." I didn't baby the car. I'm driving 85 miles an hour through Dallas, and all of that entails and that fun. But yeah, and then the one thing, so it's got a little display over here on the thing, and it's nice. I can't stand, and I do need to send you these photos. I cannot stand the air vents. Okay. These are a terrible design. They're not flat. They are perfect circles on the center of the dash.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you've probably seen these.
Something like it, yeah.
But they're perfectly centered in the dash. They're perfectly round circles. There's 3 of them in a row. They've got the little fan blades coming off of them to direct it. And the whole thing moves. You grab a little center peg, and the whole thing moves around like a gyro. You point it at what you want.
Oh.
Then that center peg, because you may be wondering, well, if it's a circle, how do I stop airflow? Well, that center peg,
twist it and
you twist it. You twist this little tiny, and it is large enough for you to grasp it. It is too small to comfortably do this maneuver because no, it's too small to actually do it. It needs to be a larger center knob. Like it's genuinely like, to grab it, but it's not large enough to comfortably make this adjustment. Cause then you just feel like you're rolling your fingers and you're not twisting your hand. Does that make sense of like,
sort of, yeah.
What I want to do is leave my hand in one position and just take my fingers and twist like I'm putting on the nut of a bolt, right?
Mhm.
Where I'm just twisting my fingers. But it's too stiff to do that. So then you want to rotate your hand, but then you really have to squeeze this hard to make sure that you've got a good grip on it to twist the whole thing. It's a very awkward motion to make. And I was either way too hot the entire time or super cold the entire time because I couldn't make these adjustments the way I wanted them to. And I was genuinely annoyed. So,
sorry.
Yes.
I usually don't even mess with those. I just like, I think I constantly fiddle with the speed of the fan. I think that's how I overcome this problem. Like, oh, I'm a little cold, fan down. Oh, hot, oh, fan back up again. Like, I just don't. Because the fans are too annoying, and it's just, sometimes, I guess I'll just like point it away. But like, I don't ever want it off because, no, that's horrible.
Yeah.
But I don't
always want some airflow. The other thing about this, so I sent you 3 photos. I don't know if they came through, but you can see the vents and the little knob in the middle that you're supposed to twist.
Got it now, yeah.
Okay. You can see I took a picture of the shifter in the middle with that little weird button on the very back of it. Again, that's the sport mode. That there's no label there, and it barely moves when you touch it, but you hear like a. That's all you know.
Yeah.
And then I showed you the eco button and that other one. The other thing about this, I don't like the air vents. These are terrible. I hate this design. Just
they look weird too.
That's normal air vents. And then that's part of this too of like, oh, we're funky. Like we're fun.
Yeah.
There. No. Just stop. But, okay. It's push button start like all modern cars are these days.
Yeah.
But the push button is not up on near the steering column. The push button
is it by the console.
It is by the console down by the shifter. So, so instead of pushing forward, you have to take your finger and you have to point down on this, which is again a very weird. It's an awkward motion for your hand.
Yeah,
because again, I am large, so I have to actually move my hand around to the left of the shifter to make. Because I can't just slide it all the way forward because the console's too narrow to have space where I can put my hand, have shifter on resting against my pinky, and then push the button. So I have to actually angle my hand in towards my knee to go around the shifter and then press the button. So it's just an awkward position for it. Like it really needs to be just further forward to get around this entirely.
But then it runs the risk of getting hit when you're pushing other buttons on the thing.
Yes. So I understand why it's that far back. Plus, they don't want people having to extend their arm too much, but it's too close to the shifter, especially when the shifter is forward.
Oh, yeah, true. Like
in park, where it is when you start the car.
In its furthest forward position. Yeah, obviously.
It just, again, that's where I'm like, oh, this doesn't make sense. Like,
what are you doing?
Yes.
Why?
So, yeah.
Sorry, this was such a traumatic event for you. Like,
so beyond that, look, at the end of the day, I needed a car to get me from point A to point B, and it did it, right? And again, this is the like brand new. These cars are like $23,000, so they're not like they're built for a purpose. They're to move people and store things in the back, and it did that. It did that just fine.
There you go.
Boom, accomplished.
Did car stuff. Got it.
Functioned as a car. So, yeah, that's Again, we'll be fine. I'm fine. I think brand new. This was $20,000 back when it was brand new. They've had some price increases because this was a model or two back. So and it's one of those things too of like I actively like driving the rentals because they tell you a little bit about how this car is going to hold up. So this is a this was
true,
a two,
yeah.
right. This was a 2022 model. So it's not, it wasn't 2023 and whatever, but like, and it had 36,000 miles on it, which isn't a whole lot for a car. But
no, but
this is a rental, so it's like been through some stuff, and like the steering still felt tight. The brakes were fine. There were no obvious signs of massive wear and tear on the interior of any of the surfaces or anything like that. It wasn't coming apart. So for that part, good durability, right? So for that, top marks. But my goodness, the air vents, like just never because here's the other thing of like it is not this, but it's close enough to make it annoying. And a circular air vent that's on a complete pivot and can be moved in a 360-degree fashion is infinitely adjustable. Infinitely adjustable. This is too much for me. I don't. I have to adjust this in X, Y, and Z ways to make like
too many axes of mobility for
too
Collin.
many axes of motion. I can't do this. Maybe, and so if we're being perfectly honest, this is why I found myself driving behind a vehicle going 60 miles an hour in an 85 because I wasn't listening to a podcast. I was futzing with the air being blown in my face, going, oh, do I need to move this more over? Like, I can really hone this in on which nostril I want it blowing up. And I need to decide how. It's so bad. Just stop.
This is a whole new level of neuroses, right? Like weird air vent neuroses. Like, what is happening? I don't understand. Like, I don't.
And I'm like, I have there's things that I need to not be doing with this, but yeah. I will say we don't own a vehicle with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. These are great features to have. Every car should have this where you plug your phone in and your phone takes over the little infotainment center. Like that just should be standard. Like I really did enjoy that, not having to had my phone basically displayed up on the little heads up unit.
Yeah.
Very nice. Boy howdy, between that and the start button anyway. So that's I don't have a scale or rating for these kind of things. I just know that you need a basic car to get the job done, and don't mind infinitely adjustable air vents. Sentra's your way. I couldn't recommend it highly enough. But
except for the air vents and the start button.
Yes.
Other than that,
and the sport button. Stop putting sport buttons on these things, people. Nobody needs to be driving these in sport mode. Like this is not. It doesn't make it more fun. You just really are like, yeah, that's just a lot of like really bad noises coming from under the hood.
True, yeah.
Like that's like, it should not be making this noise. This car should not be making that noise. But we did arrive safely. Conference, got Megan from the airport.
Or like, did you get the
you what?
Did you get out of low to get Megan in the airport, or did you find the right gear for that?
I did. I managed.
Okay, good.
I managed to get into Terminal C.
Oh, nice.
Yep. I did have two people approach me and ask me if I was an Uber. I was like, nope.
Is that Uber drivers drive Nissans? Is that what's happening here? Like,
it's probably because I was sitting there looking like I wasn't worried, or I was just because I was waiting for somebody. Probably, and they're like, "Are you waiting for me?" And I'm like, "Who has a Sentra on this? That's weird."
No.
You need to get the black Escalade that's behind me. That's an Uber. There are 4 of them in a row. Those are your Ubers, buddy. And there were 115 attendees from across the country that had showed up for the conference. Yeah. Big conference for that. They do. I will say one of the things I really liked about going to scientific conferences when we did that was that they were multi-track, and it was like, so every but they were also much, much larger. So every 15 minutes throughout the day, somebody was giving a 15-minute talk. And it was 15-minute intervals. And there would be like 30 you could choose from at 8:15, right? So
nice.
like, and they that just went all day. I really like that because I could really go, okay, I need to attend this, or this is the one that or like it was wonderful to go from a perspective of here are the problems I'm facing or the questions I'm trying to answer or where I'm at. And I can just circle through these and get to where I need to go. Now, this is also bad because it means you're not being exposed to new information that you don't need right now, but you may be later and blah, 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 blah. But for a get in, get out with information, fantastic. The way these conferences are run, everybody's in the same room and everybody listens to the same speakers. And the shortest any one speaker will talk is an hour at a time. Which is too long.
I say 40 minutes, maybe.
40.
Right? Maybe.
Right.
30 is probably.
30 would be ideal.
Yeah.
For the content for most of these. Now, again, I understand from a conference organizer perspective, I now need double the presenters.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Right.
And
I mean, you don't have to, you got to think, you don't have to stack them 1 to 2, 2 to 3, right? You can be like, shuffle them through the middle and say like, okay, well, we're going to 1 to like 1:30, and then we go from like the next one's at like 1:45 to, right? You gotta give people some time to go and do stuff, right? Yes. Maybe they need a drink. Maybe they need snacks. I don't know.
Right. Well, so this is the thing of like, you don't need to stack them so heavily. It gives it a little bit more. It actually would give it more breathing room because people could do stuff in those little time segments. And you could also ask the same presenter to speak on like 3 different things. Like,
oh yeah, that's true.
Here
they could speak once, and then like a couple, like an hour and a half later, they could like talk again, maybe about something else, right? Like,
yes. And then that way it's more focused because you can tell during sometimes of when you're watching people give these an hour and a half long talks, you're like,
oh no,
yeah, those are fun. You're like, oh, like you're doing like 5 different talks here. Like this could actually be broken up a lot better. That's one critique of these. Everybody sits in the same conference center and talks kind of thing. Because it's like, oh, I have to sit here for an hour. Like, oh my gosh. And whatever. So that was that, but it was great. Get to see people, get connected with everything. Megan and I were there for the podcast. So we set our booth up and we had our little tent thing. So that's the other thing. Okay. So from our perspective, like both Megan and I attended because we were a quote unquote vendor for the conference.
Yeah.
But also like we do have our own pet care company. So we're learning while we're sitting in the back of the room because the vendors were also in the same room as everybody.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah. Because we were just sitting back there taking notes. But like both Megan and I could attend for like the price of a ticket because of anyway, fine. So
nice.
Because as a vendor, you get 2 tickets to attend. 2 tickets. Whatever. So we set up the mobile recording gear. I took all 4 microphones, which was actually fantastic. I almost didn't. I almost only took 3 because I was like, I don't think I'm going to be talking to 2 people at the same time. Except there was a husband and wife there who were also a vendor who I wanted to talk to. We got to talk with both of them at our table using all of the microphones. So from a like technical aspect, this was also very difficult because we're in the conference room with 115 other people trying to like record.
That's true. That is a bit tricksy.
But I was like, look, key here is to get the microphone as close to people's face.
I mean, eat that thing.
We're just going to eat it. And at first my thought was, well, we're just going to sit here and pass out stickers, pass out our starter packs, QR code, talk to people, and then like maybe invite them to talk if they want to. But normal attendees are not there to be interviewed. And we're actually quite off-put by the presence of the microphones. Like they were very much like, you're not recording right now, are you? Like, no, I'm not recording right now. It's fine. It's fine.
Unless you want me to be.
So then I realized, like, oh, Megan and I need to be recording during the breaks, just her and I talking kind of about what we're experiencing. Then we need to be going and tapping people on the shoulder and saying, we would like to have you come talk with us and sit over here about this, which actually ended up working out. And we got to talk to like all the vendors there and had them record on the show. And then, but it was hard to get it in with everybody because there's just a lot going on. And like, I don't want to I can't record while somebody's presenting because I'm in the same room, which means that I have to sit through the person talking, and then I can't go to the bathroom because I have to wait for right, or like I can't go get a donut, or I can't, foreshadowing, like I can't do this stuff. I gotta sit here, and then I was like, oh my gosh, this is taking so much time, and I'm really tired now. I should space these out more next time, because we kind of like, Saturday was a test day, and then Sunday we still had all day, but I was like, oh, like I have to get everything done today. Like I'm grabbing people and like, I'm going to talk with you for 5 minutes, and then I need you to get out of the chair because I got to go find someone else. And then I got so managing that was a little difficult. On the back end, editing that, I will say that I had intended to leave in more conference background noise than what was actually in the show, because I had wanted to bring listeners in to that feeling and not sound like we were in a studio. However, I was editing on a very real time crunch where the conference ended at 5. Megan and I drove 3 hours north, and then I still had to edit and upload and get everything done. And then we were back on the road the next day, and the podcast came out the next day. So I was a little crunched for that time, and I couldn't. What ended up happening was I ended up running it through a program, and it stripped out everything from the background. If you listen to this, you can't, there's nothing going on in the background. We are in a studio recording, kind of talking a little aggressively, and because we're actually yelling over the noise that was there. So I couldn't release the audio with it having been edited with no edit. But right. I had intended just to bring it back a little bit, but I couldn't fine tune it that much in the time that I had. So it just came out, and it just sounds like Megan and I are talking in a room with no background noise, which I think is fine.
Well, yeah, it'd be all right. But that's crazy that it was able to strip out that much background audio. That's kind of impressive in and of itself, right there. Like that it can do that.
It's intense. Again, and having been there listening to it, I need to send you an audio snippet of like the before and after, just so that you can listen to like, holy crap, like that's amazing. Like, okay, computers are kind of cool.
True.
Yes. And then we wrapped up the conference and drove back in those 2 stages of stuff. It was a blitzkrieg going down and a blitzkrieg coming back up. But I will say, as far as travel snacks go, because we need to just talk about this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm going to throw out a travel snack that's not typical, that I actually really liked in this in this. And this is probably just because, again, we're at like venues, like we're staying at a hotel that has like breakfasts and stuff like that. I really got to throw one out there for the travel muffins. Like,
hey, there you go.
Eating a blueberry muffin or a banana nut muffin on the road. Like, I don't know what it is about that, but driving and just like grabbing a little piece of muffin and not having the wrappers or things like that. We went for the the more like bakery stuff this time on the travel. And it was very good. Also very messy, right? So, but also
that is the problem with the muffin, right?
Rental,
it's a big, it's very crumbly, right? Like that's the only problem, is that it is very crumbly.
Yes.
That is big. When you said muffin, right? I instantly had this like flashback to high school, because they used to sell those in the cafeteria in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. So I have these memories of go after band practice, like just jogging the 5 feet over to the cafeteria to grab like a juice and a muffin, right? And I don't know why, but I thought you need to remember too that there were, in fact, muffins in our high school cafeteria. There you go. Boom.
Yeah. They were the large Otis Spunkmeyer muffins,
Yeah,
weren't they?
I think so.
Yes.
Or something similar. I don't know if they're what they
Yes.
actually were, but yeah, they had
Oh, I
those
think.
in like those like apple juice things.
Yeah.
They had them in that second line over there. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Man,
yes.
there you go.
Yeah, Otis Spunkmeyer muffin, because actually we did eat Otis Spunkmeyer muffins, and
Wow.
I do
Ooh.
think that those were, I think those were the ones in the cafeteria.
I mean, they probably were, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Huh.
There you go.
So anyway,
Weird callback. Anyway,
weird call it. Yeah, those and juices, drink wise. Yeah, that's what we had on our snacks. I highly rate these. I'll add a link to an Amazon.
oh gosh, boxes of muffins.
Yes, no, it's Otis Spunkmeyer assorted muffins, 15 count for $25. I don't think that's bad.
Not too bad. Hashtag not sponsored, by the way.
Not sponsored, but yeah, the banana nut is the way to go. I'm all about
blueberry muffin type of guy.
Oh, really?
Like, very, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I always look at the muffins, right? And I see all of the choices. And then I'm like, nah, blueberry. Like, I just like a blueberry muffin. There's something very comforting about a blueberry muffin. Again, mom used to make blueberry muffins on the weekends. And I think there's like a very nostalgia heavy factor in my love for blueberry muffins.
Fair point.
So I think that's why. Because I like some of the other ones, but like they're never as good. Like I want the chocolate muffin to be better than it is. Right?
Yeah.
There's sometimes like the apple strudel thing or whatever. Sometimes that's okay. But like the blueberry muffin is always good.
Fair point.
Right?
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. Again, I think there is some very heavy nostalgia playing into my choice here. But I am a blueberry muffin enthusiast.
Well, in case you want to know, you can get a case of Spunkmeyer Delicious Essentials Wild Blueberry Muffins for $53.
I don't think I need a case of muffins. That might be a bit too many muffins.
I honestly can't figure out why you wouldn't, but fine, whatever. That's fine.
I mean, I had to pay the tax guy today, so gotta wait couple, quite a few business days before buying a case of muffins, right? It's how this works. Gotta wait.
Fair point. Fair.
And
so yeah, it was overall a great weekend. Too much happened for it was just a lot to do, take in, say hi to people, also take notes. Still have lots of notes over here, but successful. And then in the world of the pet industry, at first there was just one conference. The big group had one conference in the fall. Okay. Then a second group popped up, another national organization, and was like, we're going to have ours, but don't worry, we're not going to have it in the fall. We're going to be in the spring. And so for years, like 20 years, there's been one in the fall, one in the spring. Then within 10 years ago, the one in Texas, it's a Texas specific association. It's not a national one. It's just at the state level. They started to have theirs as well.
That is the most Texas thing to do ever, right? Like, we're not affiliated with nothing else. This is only Texas.
Well,
like it is like the most Texas sentiment of all time.
A decade ago, they were really kind of the start of this state level organizations. At first, there was just one national, then there was a second national, and then Texas was like really like the first one to get off the ground at the state level. And they were like, oh, well, will be the spring, so it's not like super hot. So now we have two in the spring and one in the fall. Well, then 2 years ago, Florida was like, oh, we have a state association, and we're going to start doing ours in the fall as well. And so
why don't they just do it in the winter? They need. Come on, Florida.
Right.
Like, not you only have like 2 seasons anyway. So like, what are you doing?
So now this is what happens. We had the Texas had theirs on one weekend. The very following weekend is that one national organization. And then in the fall, instead of being 1 week apart, they're only like 2 weeks apart. So what a lot of people do, I don't know how they have time for this because I have no time.
Say, guys, you have months. There's like 3 months of each season. Like, you don't have to do them the day after
one another.
What are you doing?
I know. So what people do is they'll go to the Texas one, and then they'll just kind of like slowly travel across the country to the other National Association one and have another conference. And so they have basically a week and a half bookended by conferences. And so people were there asking us like, oh, are we going to see you next weekend? Because a large contingent of people are just going to travel across the state to the next conference. And I'm like, no, I don't have that kind of time. I'm very tired.
Yeah. I drove down here in like 6 hours. Okay, I can't do it.
Yeah. And the other one, they're in Savannah, Georgia. And I'm like, oh gosh, like, no, I am not driving out there at all.
Oh no. Ew. That does not sound pleasant at all.
No.
Drive to Savannah? No.
No, thank you. No. That's oh my gosh. So it was there was an event. It's fine. Back here. I keep thinking I need to say one other thing about this, but I should probably just stop talking and then let it come to me. Look. Oh goodness.
Wow. That's a lot. I wasn't expecting it to all be in one room. That is the biggest shocker here for me. That seems like a bit much. I figured there would be like at least like a hallway and then like a conference room thing and then like a main hall. But all in one room is that's kind of intense, right? Like,
oh, it's very intense.
It's a lot of just stimulation everywhere.
Yeah,
right?
Noise, movement, things. Yeah, it really put it kind of over the top. But and then I did get to say my joke multiple times at each breakfast at the hotel.
Oh no. No.
Because well, we're at a breakfast at a hotel with like the little like continental bar, like with like the eggs and the things and the waffle maker and all that stuff. So what's the one thing you get to say when you're in Texas and you're standing in the breakfast line?
I don't.
Specifically behind the waffle maker, what do you get to say? You get to say, oh, it's scientifically proven waffles taste better in the shape of Texas. Because every
that's true. They are. I forget.
In Texas has a waffle iron with a mold in the shape of Texas. Everyone, I think it's signed into law that is legally required.
Is.
And people from out of state, and I include myself, I'm quasi Texan because we were there for so long. So like I get to say things like it's scientifically proven that they taste better in the shape of Texas. And then people go, oh, harumph, 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 ha 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 ha. And then you don't have the waffle because they actually taste terrible. You move on to the other things and you grab a muffin.
Yeah, hotel waffles are oftentimes not great. Right. Just, there's something about that batter just sitting in that cup for a long time. Just kind of, just not the best.
Pre-warmed.
Yeah. It's like already half cooked because it's like next to the waffle maker for a long time. So it's like.
Oh, and the butter spray that you get to put in it. It's like,
oh, yeah. No.
Ooh, I put hairspray on it. That's wonderful.
Yeah. No, I usually just go for the eggs and the toast and or muffin. I think last summer when we were traveling, I ate a lot of the muffins and the eggs. And then I also prefer sausage over bacon at the breakfast buffet because the bacon gets too soggy.
Very.
But like if the sausage is a little bit sitting there too long, it doesn't matter. You can't tell. It's just like, okay, whatever.
Then it's just kind of spicy beef jerky or whatever.
Yeah, it's still fine. was still fine. And then it was a bit of a weird experience because they had one day, I think, maybe I don't remember. I think they had biscuits and gravy once, but biscuits and gravy not in the Northeast, kind of not quite right? It's like, nah. It's like, basically okay, but like it just feels a little bit something's missing here. I don't know what exactly. Probably humidity. That might be it. Like,
Oh, it's I don't know. Yeah, they had weird concoctions there. They had like tried to do a pre-made, portioned and packaged like egg scramble with like sausage and like peppers and stuff in it. But the egg, I was just like, oh, this is like fake egg. Like this tastes like this tastes.
Oh yeah, it's always like
these
powdery,
eggs were like they tasted
like summer
like
camp eggs. Like
no, they tasted like a foam mat. Like I was like, oh, I've tasted this before. I've bit into like a foam floaty at a pool. Like that's what this is reminding me of.
I just always think about like Boy Scout summer camp eggs, right? They just like they feel, or I guess like school cafeteria, right? It's just like, why are they so round? Like what?
Yeah. You're like this is
it's like the hardest scrambled ever. You're like, oh, that's because they were powdered. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
I understand.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was very odd. So I stuck to my muffins and my donuts as well.
There you go. Nice. Nice. Before we transition, I do have to say that listeners, another just one more fun Texas fact here. I think it's also a law in Texas that Texas will always hang its state flag just a little bit higher than every other state flag.
Oh, yes.
Right. They always do that. They'll be like, okay, boom. Like it was just a little bit more. Not as high as the U.S. flag usually, although this year, who knows? But normally it's like all the state flags, and then Texas just a little bit more, and then it's very weird. But yeah. Yes. Breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Oh, no. I was going to say breakfast buffets, a bit hit or miss. But sometimes you do have to go for the donut option instead, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like that.
I do. Yes. Also can be hit or miss. So
that's true. Right.
You texted with this challenge of doing a top 5 best or favorite donut list. And I had to approach this from not my favorite donut, because that's very particular to a donut shop, right? So I gotta.
Well, okay. I was thinking of like general donut categories. Okay. Maybe I should have said donut categories.
Sure,
but you can be as specific as you want, right? I just
backed this out of like, okay, I am standing in name of generic donut shop on the side of the road. What are my go-to? Like, what am I going to try and hit? Yes. What am I looking for?
Yeah.
To see this. Right. That's how I came at this.
That's what I was like. This idea came from, we were watching, of course, because we're ridiculous, the finale of the like children's baking championship. Boom. And one of the things they had to make was like donuts. And Susan and I got in this like big long talk about like our donuts, and I was like donuts that we like and donuts that were disappointing and our favorite type of donuts that we're always looking for. And I was like, I have to text Collin right now. This is black guy. This is important. I just have to.
No, this is very important. This is very important. And I really think that my list reflects that desire to like what can be good anywhere, right? Like what so my list may be a bit boring, but
well, that's all right. And I don't know if I came at like when I started thinking about this, I started thinking about like walk into store, right? I'm also, the caveats here are like, where can I get these the most often? Like, I'm assuming that these are like relatively fresh, because a lot of these things older are not good, right? Like kind of older donuts some donuts hold up longer than others, right? So, meh. But had a good long think about this, and it was very difficult to actually come up with a list that was like that I felt good about, because I was like, but what about, oh no, but what about, like, so
Yes.
it was a very winding road to get to the list that I'm at currently. Right. Again, this is the list as of today. Who knows what mood may come later on. But as of right now, this is the current faves.
Okay.
And things that I like want.
Gotcha.
Right. If I'm going to, like, because I don't eat donuts very often.
Sure.
Right. This is not a thing. Contrary to popular opinion, I am American and I don't just eat donuts all the time. Haha. Got him. But like, they are, like, when you do want them, I'm looking for these certain things.
Hey.
Right. I'm seeking out these things because they're like my favorite ones that I want. So there you go.
Okay. Well, why don't you kick us off?
Right.
With your,
hold on.
we'll do 5 and 5 and 4 and 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. But which thing has my list in it? It's this one. Okay. There you go. Okay. I got it. All right. So top 5. My number 5 donut. Right. This had to think long and hard about this. Right. But out of, like, I really do like cake donuts. Right. Like,
Okay.
a lot. Really like cake donuts. And my absolute favorite cake donut, conspicuously also a throwback from earlier, the blueberry cake donut.
Okay.
Specifically the blueberry one.
Ooh.
Is my favorite cake donut. The other ones are good. Nah. The blueberry one is always like, it's more moist. Right? It seems to have a different consistency than, like, the chocolate cake or, like, the spice cake. The spice cake's too dry. Get out of here, spice cake. Like, and they have, a lot of times they have, like, just a little bit of glaze on them, right? The blueberry cake donut with, like, just the little bit is the best. I like that one. So the blueberry cake donut, I think I'm putting at number 5.
Hey.
Right. It may be a little low. It may be too low, but I like a lot of these other ones maybe more right now. But I do like a blueberry cake donut.
Okay. I'm making a note here. Because okay. Yes. So blueberries are wonderful. I wasn't sure how specific to go on this.
I mean, there are no rules, really.
Yes, I know. Which is hard. But I went with a Bavarian cream donut as my number 5.
Nice.
Now, the risk with going with any sort of filled donut is, what's the filling like? Because sometimes these are like knock it out of the park, or like amazing cream, like handcrafted stuff. Sometimes they taste like plastic. So,
yeah, right.
like,
no, that's fair.
So
I have a lot of times in my life picked the wrong filled donut. It's a tragedy, is what it is.
Yes, exactly. So I feel like Bavarian has a higher hit rate on this. So I think I go with that.
Very nice. Very nice. My number 4, I too went with filled donut.
Okay.
Right? So, I mean, I guess technically it's a Bismarck, right? Because there's no hole. So, blam, Bismarck got him. But my favorite filled donut is the raspberry jam filled.
Okay.
Especially the one that has a little bit of, like, chocolate glaze on the top, like chocolate icing on it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like the raspberry filled with the chocolate. I mean, the normal raspberry filled is good too. Not the powdered one. The one that, like, the powdered sugar. No, get out. No, bleh. Like the raspberry filled Bismarck with the chocolate glaze.
Okay.
If there's no chocolate, the plain glaze is fine. but the chocolate one is my favorite because you just get like a little bit of chocolate with the raspberry, right? You get just a little bit of extra taste variety in there with that. I really like that. Right. So I like that. I also, yeah, well, I'll make that observation in a minute. But yeah, I like that one. That's my favorite filled donut.
Okay.
On the filled donut category, I put that one there because I do like the Bavarian cream, but I like the raspberry one more. It's a lot more dangerous. It's way messier.
And actually,
so you gotta be careful with the raspberry. Right.
Well, and the raspberry one is actually the one I was specifically thinking of for filled because like it can taste either like, oh, this is almost a jam, or I can taste that this is processed. Like I can taste that like it
That's
can
fair. Yeah.
Like, so, but no, I understand. Like it's a good go to. So all right.
But it is dangerous because that is messy candy.
Yeah, you really have to make sure you know what's going on there. Yes. My number 4 is one that I don't encounter a lot anymore. But I will take it if it's there. I do like an old fashioned donut.
Oh, the old fashioned is slept on.
Yes.
Right? I think it's definitely slept on. That's a good one.
Yeah. I like how simple it is, but also the one thing that can go wrong with that is that they can cook them too hard and they can get too crispy. Like they can get really over fried. And then they're just not fun to eat after that. So there is definitely a fine line, and that's the one problem that can go wrong with these is that the edges get really like this is just super crunchy and not actually like delicious.
Yeah, not in an enjoyable way.
Right. Right. And old fashioned, so it's an old fashioned cake donut, as I think how they described. And I like the chocolates are fine. I just like the plain, like the old, like nothing adorned.
Oh yeah, no, that's for sure. That's a good one. That's a good one too. All right, my number 3. We're divulging now, kind of big time.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Because as I was in the middle of making this list, racking my brain, trying to figure out what else to put on here. I remembered that cinnamon twists exist. And oh man.
Oh.
Do I like cinnamon twists? I haven't had one in quite a while. You don't encounter them just like all the time. Right? They're kind of special like that sometimes. Like they're not just everywhere. Right? You're not just finding cinnamon twists just all over the place.
Right.
Feels like to me. Because I haven't. So maybe I'm just looking in the wrong spots. Let me know, listeners, if I'm doing this wrong. But I like the cinnamon twist, right? It's so satisfying, right? The cinnamony goodness on there is so good. I like
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually just, again, it's kind of just a bigger donut, right? And so it's like, well, I mean, obviously, if I'm going to have one, I might as well get the big one, right?
Mine is
that's sort of the pattern that's emerging in my list is like, it also, not only does it go from like, you know, not least favorite, but like to most favorite, but it also kind of increases in size the further I go on this list.
Oh no.
I was like, oh no, I am hashtag team fat for real right here because this is
because I always take the bigger donut.
I mean, yeah, right. Like if you're gonna get, because sometimes you're just getting one, right?
True.
So like you got to make it worth it, right? You just want like a little teeny donut if you're just gonna have one, right? So you really got to pick. But yeah, I remember the cinnamon twist were a thing, and I was like, oh man, I do like cinnamon.
Again, the problem there, super messy, like mega messy.
They are messy, but you know the paper at least helps. You know when you get the wax paper or whatever.
Oh sure,
like it helps contain the cinnamon twists a lot. It's not going to have major spillage like the raspberry, right? Because there's no jam to just like explode on you and like get everywhere. So my number 3 is the cinnamon twist.
Okay. For my 3, I'm bringing in another filled donut. And for this one, I'm going with like a cherry filled donut.
Oh, that is a very rare one.
It is very rare because typically they go raspberry, right? You'll get a cream and a raspberry. You may get lemon, but
yeah,
I typically don't like the taste of the artificial lemon. And I really like cherry filled. So I'm going to also kind of add slash like a cherry fritter.
Okay.
Maybe like kind of in this realm. But yeah, if I can find a cherry, I'm definitely going for it because I'm all about that.
That's true. That is I think that might be an underutilized donut flavor. You don't see a lot of that because sometimes you get blueberry filled, right?
Oh,
you get the Bavarian cream. Sometimes you get just like the other cream, like the whiter one, whatever that is. And then you get like the lemon, but you don't get a lot of other jam varieties very often.
No.
So yeah, I think donut makers out there, explore some more cherry flavors, right? Where's that at? Like, what's going on?
And I will say that, as you alluded to earlier, sometimes these do come with a chocolate on or a normal glaze. All of mine are sans chocolate. They're just a glazed filled.
That's fine.
These. Yeah. Just
right.
making sure. Just a blanket statement here right now.
That's right. Right. I only specified it for the raspberry one because I do like it when it's in a nice, chocolate glaze with the raspberry. It goes well together.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I will acknowledge that not all chocolate glazes are created equally, and some of them are bad. So you do, again, gotta be careful.
Yes.
But if it, sometimes you just gotta risk it. Right. You just gotta go for it. See.
Take the plunge. And the good thing about donuts is, like, unless you're going to one of those really super, there's a super, super fancy donut place in Portland, Oregon.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like $7 a donut. Unless you're going to one of those, like, if you buy a donut and you're like, oh, this is gross, you spent what? Like $1.13 on it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Like that'd be an expensive donut in the rest of the world. So you can kind of gamble a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and let's say it's like the bespoke place. There's that place in Springfield too is like that. They're kind of expensive, but like most of them are good, so it's like it's not bad. But they mostly just have different toppings on their donuts, though. I don't know. I haven't had them in a long time, but like it's just like weird things on the top. It's like the donut is the same, but the topping is wacky, right? And that's is that really wacky? I don't know.
I would say not.
Yeah, still not cherry either. What's up?
No,
what's that? Fruity Pebbles, but no cherry. What's going on here? Anyway, number two.
Yes.
Number two. You said the magic word, so I'm pulling the trigger. Number 2, Apple Fritter.
Oh,
Blam. I gotta go Apple Fritter. I really like a nice fresh Apple Fritter. Right there, the consistency is so good. Right? Like, I really just like how, I don't know. Some donuts, when you eat them, right, it's just like you ate nothing, right? And you're just kind of like, eh. So, like, I like the Apple Fritter because when you eat it, it like feels like you ate something, right? So, am I eating a lot of extra calories? Yes, but it feels like I ate them too, right? I'm just let them go to waste, right? Like,
yeah. I want to feel full.
Yeah, I do. You want to feel a little bit full if you're just going to have like a donut, right? You want it to be like be filling. You know what I mean? So I like the Apple Fritter. I just really like the consistency of the Apple Fritter, right? And the apple taste is also the other reason, but the consistency is really good, right? So
yeah, this is Megan's go-to at all times. If ever we go get donuts, you must always have an Apple Fritter. As that's the baseline.
It's only going up from here.
Exactly. So yes, those are good choice for that.
Nice.
My number 2, I'm gonna bring back one that you've already mentioned.
Go for it.
I'm gonna bring back the blueberry cake donut because that's
my
number 2. I will always reach for one of these. If it is present, I will always ask for one when we're buying. And this one was really hard for me because at first I just wanted to say cake donuts because I really, really like cake donuts. I already have the old fashioned cake donuts. So of course I'm going to have the, I guess, modern cake donuts or whatever. But
Yeah.
I also do appreciate, because I'm an old man at heart, a plain cake donut dipped in the cheap coffee from the same donut shop.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Okay. How do I do that? Yes, I do. I like cake donuts. I feel as though they are more substantial than the typical
that's why I
other
like them
donuts.
too.
Of like, I'm actually getting something here. And I like the glaze on the blueberries, so that's really good. Every now and then we have oh gosh, what do they have? They have a strawberry cake donut. Let me tell you something. Okay, those are not very common, but boy howdy.
Yeah, those are not common either.
Oh, that's anyway. I'll take a strawberry cake every day.
That's good.
Yes. Yeah.
Susan wanted me to admit the blueberry cake donut, her number one, right? Like that's her.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's her number one, right? Nice. That's where she's going for that. Like that's what she wants all the time. So this is good.
It's so good. Yeah, I like those. So okay. Well, yeah. Like it.
Right.
Okay, that's my number two.
There you go. So my number one, right? Again, this number one, it can be a bit hit or miss, right? So it is maybe a risky number one choice, right? But I think kind of maybe a little outside normal donut territory.
Oh.
But I don't care. My favorite, I'm going to go Bear Claw.
Oh,
right?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going Bear Claw. It's a little outside normal, but again, if we talk about like substantial bang for your buck,
yeah,
donut satisfying, right? That is, I think that's got to be my number one. I love Bear Claws. There now again. Are all Bear Claws created equally? Absolutely not.
No.
Right. I have had some absolutely trash tier Bear Claws before.
Oh, yes.
And it's like disappointing because you're like, oh, you're real excited. And you're like hyped up and then you bite it. And you're like, oh, God, there's no filling here. It's like, blah, the pastry's bad, man. But the good ones, hot dog.
Okay.
Are they good?
Do you like yours with don't they put nuts on them sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah.
I wasn't sure if you.
I don't really care about that. That's not my favorite, but I'm not going to turn them down because usually they're like caramelized nuts, so they're pretty like soft. They're not like hard, like crunchy. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I'm not a big like nut person, but I do like the Bear Claw. That might be my. That's my number one. I think. Just because I like that one. Maybe a little outside normal donut, but you can find them in donut shops. So boom, guys, I went by right? Like,
oh, okay. Well, that triggered a memory of a donut that I have only seen at one donut shop here. It's not my number one, but I'm going to have to use it as an honorable mention, but I'm also desperately trying to figure out what it's called. Because I was like, oh yeah, the thing. But no, my number one. So I have, I am going to say that my number one again, and this is, this is every time we buy donuts, I always have this in the order in copious amounts. I will always have one of these when donuts are available, even if I've already grabbed another donut. This is the donut that goes along with it. Right? This is it's always cool.
The backup donut.
A cake. No, it's like a cake donut and this one, or a Bavarian cream and this one. I again, I've started off by saying it's not a very exciting list. I gotta go just glazed, just a glazed
Oh, there you
donut,
go.
but also specifically not the glaze from Krispy Kreme because I hate those. I
They're
cannot.
too mushy, right?
They're
Like,
too mushy. I know people love how they're like, oh, they dissolve in your mouth and they're just blah blah. I cannot stand glazed Krispy Kreme donuts. No, thank you. No, no. I want the glaze that's like the puffy ones that are like
yeah.
tall, like weirdly tall.
Oh,
Like,
like
why are
that
you
really
so
over. Yeah.
why are you so big? Like, I like those, the dense ones, glazed donuts. Like, and it's one of those also like they're so hard to mess up. I don't know how Krispy Kreme worked so hard as a multi-million dollar company and messed it up. Everybody else does it fine. I will always grab
True.
a glazed donut. So
That's true. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Susan does like the Krispy Kreme ones, but her caveat was it has to be like when they give them to you, like fresh, like if you can pick it up directly from the belt and eat it,
Oh,
that is, then it's really, she said, then that's the best. But otherwise, after that, she said it goes downhill real quick. Once it starts sitting in that box. No.
yes. Yep. So anyway, yeah, that's my number one. I absolutely
Nice. Good. Classic. The only reason I didn't put one of those on my list is just because, like, I feel like even the normal ones, not Krispy Kreme ones, are like, they're just like you eat it and then you go like, kind of feels like I didn't eat anything. Right. But
Oh yeah.
if you're, yeah,
Sure.
but it is a good companion to, I'll give
Yes.
you that. Right.
Exactly.
While you're looking for your honorable mention,
Yeah.
I did want to shout out a couple things here. Didn't make the list. I don't, got to shout out the Croller. Right.
That was I went back and forth between the Croller and an old fashioned. I really did because I was like, oh, do I?
They're real good. I couldn't. I mean, it doesn't displace an apple fritter, right?
No,
But like, it is a nice change of pace, right? Because there's just something unique and interesting about like the texture of that donut that's just really good, right?
Yes.
And I like that one, like you're talking about, like just the glazed one, just nothing, just like the plain straight up Croller. That's good, right? Like I really like that one. I also wanted to shout out the beignet, technically also a donut, right? It's fried dough. So there you go.
That was on my list as well. The beignet.
Yeah.
My other honorable mention here is our donut shop calls it a yum yum. And
tell me more.
Okay, so what this is oh, excuse me. It's like a long john with with cherry or strawberry like swooshed in, and then the whole thing's twisted a couple times, so it's like this long john twist with strawberry in it and on it, and then they put like the icing on top is like piped cream on top of like a cream cheese icing on top, like piped. It's amazing.
That does sound quite incredible. I'm not gonna.
Yes. So like when you were talking about like substantial, I was like, oh, like I do like the yum yum, but it's again, I think it's only I don't know if everyone else has this or how to do it, but I'm gonna grab a screenshot and I'm gonna send this over to you.
I've never seen that before, so I don't know. Like,
it's real different. Hopefully this will send over. You can kind of see this thing because it's not filled with it, but it's like they took the donut. They took the donut and they laid it out flat and then like spread the strawberry stuff on it and then like twisted it together and then put this big this cream on it. Have you seen one of these before?
No, never.
Our local donut shop calls these a yum yum. Yeah,
that is very interesting.
Yeah, it is. They're very good. They're also very very rich. So
just need one of those for sure.
It's not one that you can grab like and eat 5 of.
No. My last, I have one more honorable mention, right? And of course, as I was doing this, and I was just thinking about this, and then when you realize that a donut is a lot of times just fried dough, got to give a shout out to the churro, right?
Oh, yes.
Right?
That was
Technically, technically by this definition, kind of a donut. So, I do love a good churro, right? There's like a churro food truck that shows up around here sometimes, and you're just like, well, okay. I mean, like, I might as well.
Yes.
They're so stinking good. I mean, you ever had a bad churro? Like, no, you haven't. Like,
well, so I will say real quick, on the bad churro,
Collin has apparently. I have not.
Okay, so Megan and I were we were at Subway. Okay, we'll put that into the thing.
Okay,
they are now
okay. Well, they're
so first problem. We were at Subway, and we
paying $45 for a sandwich. Apparently, I don't know what the heck the problem is.
It's way too costly. But they were offering this like foot-long churro. Okay, so I turned to Megan.
They have like foot-long like cookies now too, right?
Yes, they have foot-long cookies and they have foot-long something else. Okay. So I said, we are getting 2 churros. And Megan said, why do we need 2? And I turned and I said, 2 feet of churro. We're measuring it in feet. We want feet of churro. Okay. So the 2 feet of churro from Subway was mushy, was like way too soft, but also way too chewy. Which is a bad combination of like, it's easy to bite. It's taking me forever to actually
like
chew
the anti-churro. That's horrible. This is like dark churro. Like, what's going on here?
It was very gross, and I don't recommend these. And then I was like, oh, I have to eat 2 feet of churro now. But the churro that we had when we lived in Texas and we were at the Mexican restaurant and they made them fresh in front of you.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so listeners, every day. If you don't get your churro from Subway, then it's a fantastic thing.
Yeah. It's breathtakingly wonderful.
Jockey. For a restaurant whose tagline is "Eat fresh," having like stale churros in the freezer, it's no good. It's a bad look. What are you doing?
No.
Yeah, fresh churro, the food truck churros. Yo, those are so good, and those are huge. They're usually our food truck guy. I'm pretty sure they're probably longer than, but I've gotten big ones from them before. So,
oh yeah,
and they have like whatever this thing is. I don't even remember the name. I'd shout them out, but I can't remember. They have like different flavors. They have the dipping sauces with the churro too. Is also an exciting adventure, right? You can usually get some kind of like they'll have all kinds of like weird stuff. Like, oh, use this. Like, okay, like I was because it's crisp enough to hold up to sauce too. So you can get some good stuff. So I shout out to churro, just not Subway one, I guess. So
no. Okay, this is a good list.
I like it.
We need to visit our local donut shop tomorrow.
No, ours is under new ownership, so maybe you have to go this weekend. See, I think the old people. I think the people that like retired, and then there's somebody new operating it now. So it has a new sign. So we'll see. To give it a shot. See if they have any fritters. Bam, let's go.
Oh, nice. Okay. I like it. Well, I'm gonna dive into my haiku.
All right,
which conveniently is also food based. So this stuff just what's happened this episode.
Just tie it all in.
Just tie it all in. Food based from last week, and my throat is starting to go out on me.
Oh,
so let's see if you pick up on what it's about. Golden onions sweet. Whispers of thyme, bay leaves dance. Bowl of warmth, heart meets.
Yes. Boom.
Your French onion soup really impacted me, apparently.
I see that. I'm so glad that it was.
So it has been immortalized in haiku form.
Beautiful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that's what happened. Next week we'll talk about our opinions on the latest Grand Tour. I think.
Okay. All right. So that gives me time to finish it. Hooray!
Oh, yeah.
So that begins.
Fine. I'm going to make a note so I don't forget. Look, Brian.
That's true. Yeah. Do it. Good thing. I didn't have time to watch it yesterday. So I was like, oh, man, hope we don't need it for this because I didn't.
Nope. I fell off a little bit, so I gotta get back in and watch more of it. So
that's right. Well, you were busy. You were doing things. You were driving all the way around the nation. So
I was.
You were cruising USA. So
I was on my own Grand Tour. Is what I was.
Yeah, indeed you were.
1,000 miles. Beat that. Do that. See, I did my own 1,000-mile journey.
Boom. There you go.
Okay. Well, we will reconvene and we'll do this again.
All right.
Okay. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.